Well, I better get going. Your show's almost on.
It's officially overtime.
Sounds like a freak of nature to me.
Yeah, can't wait to meet him.
Overtime with Lee Patterson, the only live local radio sports talk show in the Gila Valley.
The following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
And now, here's your host for Overtime, Lee Patterson.
Is it that hard to turn the knobs?
Well, hello, and yes, it is that hard to turn the knobs. So, well, they're not knobs anymore, they're sliders, but especially when you haven't been in the studio in over a month. Happy New Year to everybody. Welcome to Overtime. I am Lee Patterson. Thanks for joining us on this show. If you are new, if you were just enjoying Doug Gottlieb and you're like, who's this guy talking? We are going to break down high school sports. We will do that every Wednesday at 1:30 until the end of basketball season. We will go over basketball season this year. We're going to update everybody on where basketball teams are. We're going to talk a little soccer here in a second. We're going to talk Eastern Arizona College athletics. We're going to look at the brackets, when state games are going to be, when they potentially can be, who's going to be at home, who's going to be on the road, all of that coming up in today's episode. Let's start with soccer, because there's a big soccer match today over at Eastern Arizona College, as Thatcher and Safford will lock up at 4 o'clock this afternoon at Mickelson Field. They will – it doesn't matter. The sport could be underwater basket weaving, and it would be a rivalry between Safford and Thatcher. So that'll be a big game over at 4 o'clock, so if you want to go check that out, you can. The rankings look like this in soccer. Everybody that plays soccer here is in 3A. That is the lowest soccer division in AIA. Right now in 3A boys soccer, Gilbert Christian is number 1, Push Ridge is number 2, Phoenix Country Day is number 3, Arete Prep is number 4, Northwest Christian is number 5, Glendale Prep is number 6, Santan Foothills is 7th, Thatcher boys sit number 8, Veritas Prep is number 9, Basis of Phoenix is number 10, Trivium is 11th, ALA Ironwood 12th, Scottsdale Christian 13, Yuma Catholic 14, NFL Yet is 15, and Tanca Verde is 16. Safford sits at number 18 right now at a 5-3 record. Thatcher's, these are just PowerPoint game records. AIA does not tally the tournaments you go to in their record, but Thatcher is 5-1 on the boys' side. So that should be a good matchup this afternoon at 4 o'clock over at Eastern Arizona College. So if you're looking for something to do at 4, there's actually a couple of things to do at 4 in town today. We'll talk about the other one here in a little bit. On the girls' side of 3A soccer, Gilbert Christian is number 1. Thatcher is number 2. They are undefeated in PowerPoint games. I guess in soccer, it is hard to say undefeated for me when there's a tie in the record. But the Thatcher girls are 7-0-1. I guess by the letter of the law, that is still undefeated. ALA West Foothills is 3rd. Arete Prep is 4th, Push Ridge is 5th, Ben Franklin is 6th, Northwest Christian is 7th, Safford girls sitting number 8 at 5-1-1, River Valley is 9, Gilbert Classical is 10, Chrisman is 11, Glendale Prep is 12, Scottsdale Prep is 13, Sabino 14, ALI Ironwood 15, and Veritas is 16th. In girls soccer, and I printed how teams qualify for their tournaments, basketball and soccer. So this is how teams qualify for 3A soccer. Looks like this year. It's a 16-team bracket. So the Safford boys sitting just outside the top 16. To qualify, a school must have played a minimum of 8 games. Based on region standings, the top team in each region will earn an automatic bid at minimum to the conference play-in tournament as a host without reseeding, unless it matched up with a higher-ranked region champion who will then serve as the host. The conference play-in tournament will match teams ranked 9 through 24, teams ranked 1 through 8, along with the 8 winning teams from the conference play-in tournament will make the 16-team tournament. That is a long way to go around saying that they're going to take 24 teams to get them down to 16. Because in parentheses next to 3A, it says 16-team bracket. But technically, they're taking 24 through teams ranked number 1 through 8, along with the 8 winning teams from the conference play-in tournament will make up the 16. The state tournament bracket will be seeded according to overall ranking of the 16 teams. The state tournament will consist of 4 rounds and be single elimination. So, this is what soccer looks like. Let's look at the girls' soccer bracket. So the play-in games would be February 1st at the higher seed. So as of right now, those games will be on the first on the girls' side. That's the girls' soccer bracket. And then the state championship bracket kicks off on the 7th through the 17th on the girls' side. On the boys' side of the soccer bracket, the play-in game will be also on February 1st. So at this point, as the 18 seed, Safford boys would have to go to the 15 seed in the first round. And that would be, right now that's NFL yet. So, I mean, obviously those are changed. There's still some games left, but not many games left if that play-in game starts on the 1st. The boys state championship tournament will start on the 6th and work their way through the 17th. The finals are yet to be determined. The semifinals will, so this year in the 3A soccer tournament, the only game that's going to be at a neutral site will be the championship game. All other games are at high seed. I'm okay with that. I really am. The first round is at high seed. The second round, quarterfinals are at high seed. The semifinals are going to be at high seed. That gives the team, the higher seed, a small advantage, but that's the advantage of being the better team. So, all soccer tournament, and I'm okay with that. I mean, I think it's fine that you play at the higher seed until the championship. Kind of wish basketball would do that, but I don't think they're ever going to get around to being able to do that. Speaking of basketball, let's take a look at the 3A girls basketball rankings. Before we jump into that, I said that there was something else going on at 4 o'clock today in town, and there is. Over at Safford High School, they are hosting wrestling, and for some reason it doesn't want to go to wrestling. So at Safford High School today, you can catch Safford. Got to get to the right division, Division 3. You can catch Safford at home as they take on Rio Rico and Walden Grove. That starts at 4 o'clock over at Safford. It is senior day over at Safford as well, so they will honor 10 wrestling seniors over at Safford High School. And Safford Wrestling has one more Freedom date. That is January 24th against Combs, Florence, Payson. And then the schedule says one more. It's at Apache Junction High School, so I'm assuming it's Apache Junction would be the other at that meet. For the other wrestling teams in town, for Morenci, they have had a great season. They are at Wilcox tonight against Globe St. David Valley Union, and then they'll have a duel with St. John's on the 23rd at home before their regular season over. Pima Rough Riders are at the Diego Gadea Invitational the 19th and the 20th at South Point Catholic this weekend. And then they will finish at Palo Verde High School against Catalina, San Carlos, Santa Rita. I'm guessing Pima and Palo Verde. It says plus 2 more, and it doesn't let you expand the schedule of who is there. And for Thatcher, they are tonight at Bisbee against Benson, Seminole, Tombstone. and they will end their regular season the 26th and 27th at the 34th Annual Rocky Nelson Invitational at Mogollon High School. So those are the wrestling schedules. So for the rest of the year for the local teams. Now we could jump into basketball. Girls basketball rankings. Taking a look at those, and we will find in 3A, Thatcher ranked 27th with a 3-5 PowerPoint record. And Safford ranked 29th with a 2-7 PowerPoint record on the 2A and now on the 3A rankings. On the 2A rankings, Pima girls are number 3. San Carlos girls are number 2. Pima girls are number 3. Morenci girls are number 9 in 2A girls. We're just skimming through that because we're going to do a little breakdown of each team and their schedule, their remaining schedule here in a little bit. We're just running through these rankings real quick. On the 1A girls side, Fort Thomas is number 3, Valley Union number 9, Duncanson's number 10 on the girls. On the boys side of things, 1A rankings, Fort Thomas is number 4, and Duncanson's number 28 in the 1A rankings. 2A boys rankings has Pima at number 3. They've got 2 PowerPoint losses this year. Snowflake and Arizona Lutheran. And Arizona Lutheran's the number 2 team in 2A. Morenci boys sit number 6 in the 2A rankings. In the 3A rankings, the Safford Bulldogs are number 16, and the Thatcher Eagles are number 30 in the rankings. And this is how teams this year will qualify for state basketball. In 3A, it'll be a 24-team straight tournament. So in order to qualify, a school must have a minimum of 12 games. Based on region standings, the top 2 teams in each region will earn an automatic bid to the state tournament, except for the North region. 2 teams in North region tournament final will be the region's 2 bids. The remaining 12 teams will qualify at large based on the AIA rankings powered by Max Preps. The state tournament bracket will be seeded according to overall ranking of the 24 teams, with teams 1 through 8 receiving a first-round bye. So, for example, the Thatcher Eagles on the boys' side, they are ranked number 30 right now. If they don't get into the top 24 but finish first or second in their region, they're in. Just keep that in mind. 2A this year will do a play-in round with 9 through 24 and then take 16 teams into the official state tournament. The North and Valley regions are going to have a tournament. Everybody else will be based on regular season play. And in 1A, they are taking 16 teams in a 16 straight tournament. In order to qualify, you have to play 12 games. The top team in each region will earn an automatic bid to the state. The 4 super regional champions will also earn an automatic bid, if different than the region champion. Super regional games will not count for PowerPoints. Remaining teams will be added to the state tournament bracket based on AIA rankings. The 16 teams will be seeded according to the AIA rankings. So there'll be 12 automatic bids and 4 to 8, 1A, 8 to 12 automatic bids and 4 to 8 at-large qualifiers. Okay, that makes sense, I think. So now that I am thoroughly confused on that, we're going to take our first break of the program. When we come back, we'll look deeper at the schedule of the brackets and a little capsule breakdown of each of the local teams. Coming back right after this. Welcome back to Overtime. Lee Patterson with you. Thanks for joining us today as we walk you through high school sports here on KATO. Our next basketball broadcast will be Friday night, 7:30 over at Eastern Arizona College as the Monsters take on Arizona Western. Let's take a look at high school basketball teams, how their season is shaping up, what they've got left. We'll start 3A girls basketball with the Safford Bulldogs under first-year head coach Kristen Baldwin. They are 2-7 in PowerPoint games, so ranked number 29. And their last game out this week, they fell by 14 to Pima. Tomorrow night, they will be at Empire, then at Catalina, then at Push Ridge. The 26th will be home against Palo Verde, and the 31st against Globe. Then they'll be at Sabino on the 2nd and finish up the regular season on February 8th. They are second in the 3A South. So this is where this comes into play with the 3A teams. That's, as I read earlier, the first two teams in each region are going to get automatic buys and automatic spots into the tournament. So although Safford girls are 2-7, they're 2-0 in the region, and they're number 2 in the 3A South. Something to keep in mind going down the stretch. The Thatcher Eagles, they sit 3-5 overall under first-year head coach Elena Estrada. They are 27th in the rankings, and they are at home against Tanca Verde tonight, home against San Miguel tomorrow, home against Catalina on the 23rd, at Pima on the 25th, home against St. David on the 29th, at Palo Verde the 30th, and then finish with 3 home games, Empire, Altusay, and Coolidge on February 7th. They are 27th overall, but again, if they can get into the top 2 in the 3A South, they could get themselves into the playoffs. They sit number 3 right now. Pima girls are 8-1 overall in PowerPoint games. They are number 3 in the 2A. They are undefeated in the 2A East at 6-0. They are at Blue Ridge tonight, home against Tombstone on the 19th, at St. David on the 22nd. Then they have Bisbee at home the 23rd, Thatcher at home on the 25th, Wilcox at home on the 29th, at Benson the 31st, home against Santa Rita on the 1st, and then they finish the regular season at Morenci on February the 6th. Pima girls so solidly in the playoffs as the number 3 seed. They have gone to the state championship game the last 2 seasons, trying to make it 3. Actually, the last 3 seasons, trying to make it 4 in a row in the state tournament, in the state championship. The Morenci Wildcats on the girls' side, head coach Albert Ortega has them at 8-4 in games this year. They are number 2 in the 2A East with a 7-1 record. They defeated Wilcox this week 60-47. They'll have Santa Rita at home tomorrow night. Check that on the 19th. At Benson the 23rd, the 25th, home against Santan Charter. At Bisbee on the 1st, at San Miguel on the 3rd, and then home against Pima to round out the season. I think Morenci solidly in the playoffs as well at the number 9 spot right now. 1A girls, Fort Thomas. Lee Haas has them at 8-5 this year. They're number 3 in the 1A rankings, and they are number 2 in the 1A Comper with a 4-1 record. They defeated Sibicu this week 74-39. They are at home against Hayden tomorrow, at Joe City the 19th, Superior the 22nd, Babakivri at Babakivri the 25th, home against Mogollon, and then at Sibicu to end the regular season on the 30th. Also think they are solidly in the playoffs. The Duncan Lady Wildcats are 9-5 overall, number 10 in the state under, this says head coach Eldon Merrill. They defeated Babakivri 42-33 this week. They're at Patagonia tomorrow, at Tombstone the 20th, home against Valley Union the 22nd, San Manuel, Superior, and then at San Simon to end the season. As the number 10 team, I think the Duncan girls are probably in the playoffs. We'll step away one more time here on Overtime. When we come back, we'll do the boys' side of things on the quick capsule, and that might get us to the top of the hour and out of here. So we'll come back. We'll wrap it up with the boys' capsules right after this. Welcome back to Overtime. Lee Patterson with you. Thanks for joining us on Wednesday. Hope you're having a great Wednesday today. Let's go head back into the boys basketball section of the capsules quickly, as we start with the Safford Bulldogs under head coach Danny Smith. They are 8-2 in PowerPoint games. That puts them 16th in the 3A. They're number 1 in the 3A South with a 3-0 record. This week, as you heard here on KTO earlier this week, on Monday actually, they fell to Pima 61-46. They are at home against Empire tomorrow, at Catalina on the 20th. They have Push Ridge at home the 23rd, a game that you can hear here on KETO as well. At Palo Verde on the 26th, home against Globe on the 31st, at Sabino on the 2nd, and home against Catalina in the regular season on the 8th. 24-team tournament. First and second team get in the region, get auto bids. I think Safford is probably in the playoffs this year. Thatcher boys, 3-4 in PowerPoint games under Kyle Hull. They are number 30 in the state, and they fell. Their last game was the 12th. They lost 56-50 at home against Sabino. They are at Tanque Verde tonight. They've got San Miguel at home tomorrow. At home against Catalina the 23rd. At Pima the 25th. Palo Verde at home the 30th. At Empire. Home against Alchese on the 5th. Home against Coolidge on the 7th. And at Push Ridge to end the regular season on the 8th. Obviously a lot of ground to make up for Thatcher, but they are number 6 in the 3A South. They're going to have to get into the top 2 or into the top 24. They've got to move up 6 spots in the rankings to get into at least, well, at 3A, it's the tournament. It's the straight into the tournament. 2A boys, Pima, 7-2 overall in PowerPoint games. They are number 3 overall in 2A. Number 1 in the 2A East, sitting at 6-0 in the region. They are at Blue Ridge tonight. Then Tombstone, Bisbee, and Thatcher at home. And Scottsdale Christian. They've got a busy week. They've got at Blue Ridge tonight. On the 19th, they've got Tombstone at home. Then the 23rd, they've got Bisbee at home. The 25th, they've got Thatcher at home. The 27th, they've got Scottsdale Christian at home. The 29th, they've got Wilcox at home. And then they finished with 2 other last 3 on the road. At Benson, home against Santa Rita, and at Morenci. So starting on the 19th, 5 home games in a row for Pima, who is the 3 seed and I would say solidly in the playoffs. Morenci boys, Ruben Leonard, the head coach, 11-1 overall in PowerPoint games. That gives them the number 6 overall ranking. They are number 2 in the 2A East with a 7-1 record. They defeated Wilcox yesterday, 68-37. Then they've got Santa Rita, at Benson, at Bisbee, at San Miguel, home against Pima on the 6th in the regular season. Morenci solidly in the 2A playoffs as well. 1A, boys basketball, Fort Thomas, number 4 overall under head coach Matthew Dona. 11-2 overall in PowerPoint games. They are number 1 in the 1A Copper with a 5-0 record. They defeated Sibique 69-38 yesterday. They are home against Hayden tomorrow, at Joe City, home against Superior, at Babakivri, home against Buguillon, and at Sibique on the 30th. And then the Duncan boys under head coach Brad Roof are 4-10 overall in PowerPoint games. They are number 5 in the 1A Tucson Southeast. I'm not sure how that region got put together. They are 28th overall. They fell to Babakivri 65-37 on the 16th. They are at Patagonia tomorrow, at Tombstone the 20th, home to finish the regular season against Valley Union, San Manuel, and Superior. And quickly, we'll move over to Eastern Arizona College athletics. Big matchup coming up this Friday and Saturday at home as Arizona Western is in town both nights. Women at 5:30 Friday, men at 7:30 Saturday, women at 2, men at 4. On the men's side of things, Eastern Arizona College leading the conference. They are 8-0 in the region. They are 15-4 overall, and they've won 9 in a row. On the women's side, Eastern Arizona is 16-1 overall, number 12 in the country, 9-1 in the region, and they are 1 game behind Arizona Western. Arizona Western women have won 11 in a row. Eastern women have won 9 in a row. There are going to be some really good games Friday and Saturday over at Eastern. And for Eastern Arizona College men, Cook Machar has averaged 23 points in 2 Gila Monsters wins last week, while hauling in 19 total rebounds, scored 22 and 24 against Yavapai to give a sweep on the road for the Monsters. So big-time basketball being played over at Eastern Arizona College. That'll do it for us here this afternoon. Thanks for joining us as we get back in the saddle here on KATO. And we'll be back next Wednesday to bring you more high school and college information. Maybe next week we'll get into the new U of A football coach as well. Oh, also, last night Dana White announced Justin Gaethje's next fight. He will fight on April 13th against Max Holloway for the BMF belt. Not a title fight, but a belt. We'll see you.
Goodbye.
Now, if you'll excuse me.
Goodbye. Good night.
Signing off.
Come to bed now.
Okay.